know how. Can I get your name and number? Cause we're at the Beauty Beat 2025. This is the last session of the last day, day 2 of the Beauty Beat, and we are finishing strong, closing out with a sensational masterclass with L'Oréal Paris. And I'm delighted to invite someone very special who's going to be doing this masterclass. It's renowned makeup artist and beauty expert, Adeola Gboyega. Please give her a warm welcome as she makes her way to the stage. Adeola is going to be giving our gorgeous model her signature glowy gorge beat. So if we want to look, who wants to look as flawless as Adeola? Please let them know. The girl, honey, the girl.
Hey, gorgeous.
Beautiful. La 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 la. I can't wait to see how, or to learn how Adeola does it.
Thank
I'll let you take it away. Enjoy, everybody. Adeola.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is my 4th beauty beat. Can you imagine? How are you all feeling? Good? Excited? Thank you so much for staying with me, guys. I've worn my best pair of heels for you. Who was here the last time that was really enamored with my shoes? I always try and make sure I have the best shoes on for you guys. Yes, a little YSL, yeah. So thank you so much, guys, for coming to my masterclass. I'm really honored to be here partnering with L'Oréal Paris, one of my favorite makeup brands. And I've also got the gorgeous Lola Thompson here. A round of applause for Lola. So I really wanted to do a masterclass where I'm able to share with you transitional pieces to take you from autumn to winter. Who here's skin is going through at the moment? Because all of us, right? Every single one of us, our skin's going through it. The seasons are changing, that central heating's cracked on. So I really want to talk to you about skin prep, makeup, all of the good stuff. So I want it to be interactive. We've got some amazing ladies around that will be passing on the mic. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And hello to everyone at home as well that's also streaming for the Beauty Beat. I'm really, really excited to be here partnering with L'Oréal Paris. So we'll get started. For those of you that don't know, my name is Adeola Gboyega. I've been in the industry for 14 years, which is incredible. And one of my biggest passions is really sharing expert tips that you can be your own sort of beauty expert and makeup artist, because it's so important that, you have all these amazing products, but you want to be able to feel confident enough to be able to use it yourselves. And that's really, really important. So that's a really nice segue for me to kind of start off with skin prep. Has anyone else tried this really beautiful range from L'Oréal? One of my favorites. It's basically their plumping hyaluronic acid range, which I absolutely love. And it's really important because for me, one of the things I always preach about, and it's so funny because when you guys DM me and you're like, what's the best foundation? What's the best this? I always talk about skin prep first because no great makeup is ever as good as the skin that you have underneath it. So that's really, really important. I'm going to start off with a serum. Has anyone used a serum or tried a serum before? Okay, love that. You guys are good. Awesome. So serums are really important because what they do is that they're the ones that are really jam-packed, full of those really good ingredients to help hydrate your skin and plump your skin. And that's really important, especially now that our skin can get quite dry, quite dehydrated. In here, you've got loads of different variations of hyaluronic acid that really go deep into the skin to really hydrate and plump the skin. What's your skin type like, Lola?
Oily combination.
Oily combination. More oily. Okay, awesome. So this is perfect for all skin types. Everyone can benefit from using hyaluronic acid. And it's not an acid in the sense that it's going to, make your skin feel really dry or dehydrated. It's actually going to help to hydrate your skin. And we naturally have hyaluronic acid present in our skin. So I'm going to take a little bit of that and just put it on. I'm actually going to do it on one side just so you guys can see how insane this serum is. It's really fantastic. It's really helping to plump the skin. If you have fine lines of dehydration, this is really, really good to kind of give you that radiance and glow. And you guys know me, I'm all about the glow. So any products that can really give you that really hydrated, plump feel. Can you guys see that just by me putting that on one side, how hydrated and plump her skin looks? And where Lola was saying that her skin is quite dehydrated, I think everyone can experience that, especially at this time of the year. So what this will really do is really go deep into the skin and balance that hydration. Most people that have dehydrated skin, they're normally lacking in water and hydration. And what we tend to do is if you've got oily or combination skin is that we're using these really stripping cleansers that strip away that oil that we naturally have in our skin. And then your skin starts to produce even more. So actually by using a hyaluronic acid serum like this, it helps to balance the skin and you'll find that you'll be less oily as well. So that's a really good pro tip. Less is more with this. I know that it's very, very tempting to use as much as you can, but you don't need to because these are really concentrated ingredients as well. So we're just going to smooth that into the skin. And I tend to love using my fingers for this sort of thing, just to really make sure that you're more really feeling the skin, any areas of dryness and texture, and just smoothing that in. So I'm just popping that on. And the thing with this is that you don't need to wait a couple of minutes for it to penetrate into the skin. You actually want to have that little bit of slip because that will really help the foundation to kind of glide onto the skin as well. Any questions so far? No? Okay, you guys are locked in. I love it. Okay, awesome. Now we're going to do an eye serum. So this is one of my favorite products from L'Oréal Paris. This is actually a really beautiful formula because can you guys see the metal beads on there? So if you're really concerned with things like fine lines, dehydration, that puffiness under the eye, this is amazing. So you've got that cooling mechanism. These are like the metal beads. And what you do is you just very gently pop that on. It just helps it depuff and just smooth. This is amazing. A really good tip is actually to put this inside the fridge, and it will really help to hydrate the skin and also to plump the under eye area as well. Now, for most people, they're like, oh, I don't need to use an eye cream. Why do I want a separate eye cream? Did you guys know that the under eye area is 10 times thinner than the rest of the face? So you actually want to use products that are targeted specifically for the under eye area to help hydrate and to help plump that. So a small amount of this, you don't need to use too much, and then you can just go in with your fingers just to kind of make sure that everything is nice and meshed in. Awesome. And then the final step is one of my favorite products. Probably said that about everything, but I really do love this range, is the Plumping Water Cream. So really hydrating, moisturizing cream that, again, everyone can use. I love the applicator because you can just pump like that, and that's all you would need. And I always tend to kind of put it on the back of my hand. I'm actually going to use a brush to apply this because I really love using a brush just to kind of really mesh it into the skin. And the good thing about the water cream is that where Lola has more of a combination to oily skin, this is not too rich or too heavy for her. It's perfectly suited for her skin. And that will just help to hydrate the skin, balance without being too heavy. So we're just smoothing that over. And I love when the skin looks like this. Some people will be like, oh, that looks too greasy. Definitely not. This will naturally sink into the skin. And it's the perfect canvas and base for makeup. Now, for a lot of people, they might say, do I need to use a separate primer? If you've got combination skin, unless you're really, really oily, you don't actually need to. I always say that if you're prepping your skin accordingly, that's all you need to use to actually hydrate your skin and get it ready. Even just using a moisturizer, that's priming your skin ready for makeup application. So this is fantastic. How's your skin feeling, Lola?
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, really, really nice. Your skin is like glowing already. I love that. Now, I did want to show you one of my top secret products that I absolutely love. And actually, you guys will be going home with one of these in your goodie bags. Let me get a woo. So this is the 905 Glotion. This is fantastic. One of my favorite products that I love from L'Oréal Paris. It's that sort of illuminator. Yeah, Lola loves it. It is beautiful. I think it comes in 4 shades, but we're actually going to be using the deeper one. Now, what you can do is you can actually mix it in with your plumping cream. You can actually mix it in with your foundation. If you're looking for that overall glow on your skin, it is incredible. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of this and mix it in with the moisturizer. And actually, if I just show you on my hand, just so you can see the incredible glow that gives. Look at that. It's so beautiful. So I love to use it on the face. You can use it as like a little bit of a bronzing product as well, but it's also fantastic to use on the body. And it's really, really good to give you that overall glow to the skin and that overall illumination. So I really love it. So we're going to take a little bit of that, and you can kind of create your bespoke own kind of tinted moisturizer. So on the days when you're like, do you know what, I don't want to wear foundation, I don't want anything too heavy, but I just want my skin to look really nice and radiant, this is amazing. So you can kind of mix a little bit of this in and just pop it on the areas where you'd naturally have that glow. So for me, my favorite parts are the cheekbones, because naturally the light or the sun will hit those areas and you get that really beautiful illumination of the skin. I love to use a little bit of it on the forehead to kind of act as if like a bronzer. And then I also like to take it down onto the neck area as well. And even on the body, for example, I've got a little bit on my sort of chest area. It's a great way just to kind of illuminate. And now we're entering into party season. This is one of the sort of staple products that you need to have in your routine. And I love having it in my kit. So I'm really, really excited that you guys will get to try it, because honestly, it's one of those beautiful multi-purpose products. And as a makeup artist, I love multi-purpose products because at the end of the day, if something can save me a bit of space and I can use it on the hands, I can use it on the body, I can use it on the face, I absolutely love it. And just look at that beautiful glow that it gives Lola. It's absolutely stunning. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to hear you guys' thoughts on that. So that's pretty much made the majority of the skin prep done. Again, you don't want to like spend too much time, but you just want to have enough products on there to give you that hydration, give your skin that beautiful balance. And also, don't forget about the neck area as well. I think so many people just focus on the face, but remember, your neck and your sort of face are all interconnected. So just make sure that you're extending that hydration down to that area as well, just so you get that really nice balance. So I know that with my last masterclass, we really took some time in talking about the foundation, the shade matching, because it is a really important step. So we're going to be doing that next. And I'm going to ask you guys for a bit of help on this as well. So we're going to go on to the True Match foundation, which is one of my favorite formulas. Any questions so far on the skin? Yes. Hi, my love. Oh, there's a mic coming around for you. Hi.
Hi. So I noticed you used a special eye serum. So as far as eye products are concerned, we always hear, in terms of skincare eye products, we always hear you can use them, you don't need to use them. So I know when it comes to heavier creams that I can use eye creams because of the nature of the skin.
Yeah.
But with serums, I always see it as serums are quite light, so I could potentially use the same serum on my face as well as my eyes. So what is the difference between an eye serum and a face serum?
Yeah, a really, really good question. So with this particular formula, you've got niacinamide in there as well as hyaluronic acid. So if you are someone that has more of those dark circles, you've got those particular ingredients that you're not going to get in the face serum in this serum. And also you've got those metal beads that are also going to help with the depuffing. So it's more so about the mechanism that really helps with the smoothing and depuffing of the under eye, but the ingredients, the niacinamide that's in there that's really going to help to brighten the under eye, and the hyaluronic acid to plumping. So a lot of the times, and I agree with you don't have to use an eye cream. If you have, for example, a moisturizer that you absolutely love, but 9 times out of 10, most people have particular sort of concerns. They need a specific kind of like eye product to use to treat around that area. Does that make sense? Awesome. Any other questions? No? Awesome. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, skin prep is so important. We've done a little bit of that. We're going to go into foundation matching now. And I've got a couple of shades of the L'Oreal True Match foundation. Now, this is a really beautiful formula because, again, because I'm someone that really preaches about the importance of skin prep, I always tend to love using formulas that actually have some skincare benefits in them. And actually, this foundation has hyaluronic acid in there, so it's really good to hydrate and, again, give your skin that beautiful glow. So I've got a couple of shades, and we're going to do a few shade matching in a few areas. So what I tend to do is obviously just shake the bottle just to make sure that everything's activated in there. And we're going to do a couple of swatches on Lola's skin. So we're going to do a little bit on the forehead, just for this gorgeous color, just to kind of blend it in. And I also like to do other areas of the skin as well. So for most people, and I always see this and people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, I just need to try it on the jawline. That's great, but that is typically the area that you don't have as much pigmentation, you don't have as much redness. It's probably like the clearest part of your skin. You want to match your foundation and test it in the areas where you need the most coverage. And for most people, that will be around the nose area where you might have a bit more redness. The forehead is so important. Why do you think that is? Anyone want to guess?
It gets the most sun.
Yes, exactly. So it's really important to make sure that you're doing the forehead because that is obviously the area that gets the darkest. It's the highest point of the face. It comes in direct contact with the sun. So you might have a foundation that looks amazing everywhere else, but then when it comes to the actual forehead, it's looking ashy. And we don't want that. We want our foundation to look flawless because what you want people to do is look at you and be like, oh my God, your skin looks amazing, as opposed to looking at you and being like, what kind of mask are you wearing on your skin? Because it's not blending into your skin properly, okay? So I always tend to kind of mix shades, try a few different colors, and actually I'm more of a preference of going a little bit warmer than to go too light. Because the thing is, if it's a bit warmer, you can go in with a lighter concealer and balancing it out. If it's too light, it starts to look really cakey and really ashy on the skin. So we're just going to pop that in a few areas. And then I want you guys to tell me, which one do you prefer? I'm trying not to get this on my lovely satin black top. Awesome. And then also as well, the neck and the chest area is also really, really important. Okay, right. So we've got those 2 shades there. And I'm just going to get Lola to turn this way just so you can have a look and see. So we've got this first shade, which is 65N. And then we've got 75W, which is a little bit warmer. So hands up if you think this first shade. No? Okay. Hands up if you feel the second shade. You are right. Well done. Awesome. I mean, it was pretty obvious, but it's so important. I think that exercise was very important for me to do, more so just to kind of show you the areas that I want you guys to match your foundation, okay? So whenever you're going and you're having a look and you're trying your foundations, don't just be applying the foundation matches on your jawline. And even worse, don't do it on your hand, because you're not wearing your foundation on your hand, you're wearing it on your face. So you want to test it on the area that you want to obviously wear it. So that's really, really important. I hope you guys found that helpful. I'm just going to take a little bit of moisturizer and a brush and just wipe off those swatches. And then we're going to go into application. Hands up if you love using your hands to apply your foundation. Okay, brush. Okay. Sponge. A few of you, okay. So I'm actually going to go through the preferences of each of them and why they work really, really well, because all of them work in different ways. But my personal preference is actually to use a brush first and then kind of smooth that into the skin. And then you can obviously go in with a sponge afterwards. I'm just going to wipe these off. Awesome. So we're going to go in with that second shade that I really, really enjoyed onto Lola's skin. And then I'm actually going to use a brush to apply that. Where did I put the foundations? Oh, yeah, awesome. Perfect. So fingers are great, but what I find with fingers is that you have a natural warmth in your fingers that can break down the longevity of your foundation. So if you want your foundation to be a bit more long-wearing, definitely use a brush, because what the brush will do is it keeps that look of the foundation looking really, really natural. And also as well, it just really helps to kind of mesh everything into the skin. If you are hell-bent on using a sponge, which I know that a few of you love, that's great and it's absolutely fine. But what I would say with a sponge is that you do tend to waste a lot of the product in the sponge. Because remember, what does a sponge do? It absorbs, okay? So you're probably using the sponge, you're thinking, why is my foundation just going so, so quickly? Because half of it is actually ending up in the sponge itself. So what I tend to do is I actually prefer to use a sponge just to kind of dab off any excess and make sure that there's not too much product on the actual skin itself. So we're just going to blend that in. I'm using a really lovely light brush. I'm just going to smooth that onto one area, because what I really like to do is show you just the difference between the two sides and the benefit of using this foundation on the skin. It is absolutely gorgeous. So we're just smoothing that on. And then if you felt like you wanted to, you can actually take this down onto the neck and the chest area. But if you've got the perfect match, 9 times out of 10, you don't actually have to do that. So we're just smoothing that down onto the skin. And this just looks flawless. I mean, it probably feels really lightweight on your skin, doesn't it, Lola?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything at all.
No, it feels nice.
Yeah, it feels really, really lovely.
I mean, that's my favorite kind of
Foundation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like anything too heavy.
So I do have a sponge here. And what you can do is if there's any areas where, for example, you might feel like I need a little bit more coverage, maybe around the nose if you've got a bit of redness, or if you're looking to kind of just make sure it looks a little bit more seamless, then you can use a sponge, but it's just not my initial preference when you're applying your foundation. So I'm just going to take a step back, because I always love to have a look at this from your point of view, just so I can see what you guys are seeing. So I'm just going to have a look and see, but yeah. Ooh, Lola, your skin looks good, girl. Awesome. Such a good color on you as well. Any questions on foundation and shade matching? Yes, there's going to be a mic that's going to come. Just the lady. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Hi.
Hello, hi, I'm Saida. I wanted to know, I have a symptom called acanthosis nigricans, which making my neck more darker than my natural shade.
Yeah.
So do you have any recommendation when I trying to match the shade?
Awesome. No, it's a really good question. And it's something that, especially as people of color, we do experience quite often, where we're not just one tone, we're not unified in tone. You might have a darker neck compared to the face and so forth. So what I would say is, where is your preference of the color that you like your sort of foundation to match? I'm guessing it's not the darker part, it's probably the lighter part. So what I would say is find a foundation that matches your face and also your chest. And then you can maybe use like a slightly deeper bronzer or a slightly deeper foundation, just use it on the outer perimeter just to add that warmth into the skin so it's balanced. That's a really good tip to do, yeah. And then as opposed to going for a foundation that's too light, like I'm doing on Lola, go for slightly warmer so it gives a bit of balance, a warmer foundation. Not too light, because what you don't want to have is the color of your face is so separate to your neck and chest area. But yeah, a bronze will be a really good option for you just to add a bit of warmth to the skin. Okay, awesome. Any other questions? Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna do the other side, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys how beautiful this formula is. And again, it's long wearing, feels amazing on the skin. And again, because you're getting that really beautiful hydration from that hyaluronic acid from the skincare and everything else. If you just turn this way for me, Lola, thank you. You're just getting a really beautiful finish. I'm actually gonna take a slightly deeper concealer and actually use that as a bronzer for Lola. That's one of my pro tips, is if you do find that you're not one shade and you don't want to buy a new foundation, you can just use your concealer in a slightly deeper shade, and that will actually give you a little bit of warmth. So that's one of the things that I do a lot with my clients. If I'm ever doing makeup on myself, I'll either use a bronzer or a foundation or a concealer in a slightly different color just to add a little bit of that warmth. But the skin is looking beautiful. And it looks undetectable. That's what I feel like foundation should be. It should look like it's part of your skin. And again, because we've done that beautiful skin prep as well, that looks amazing. How's that looking, guys? Yeah, it looks really good. And again, I'm finding that your sort of more affordable foundations are rivaling the high-end ones. Like, I love that you can actually just go into sort of like, you know, your drugstores and find this beautiful foundation. And it has a really good skin matching technology, which means that it adapts to your skin to really make sure that you get that perfect match. So it really does do what it says on the tin. It gives you that true match, which is fabulous. So I love that. Okay, awesome. I've obviously used way too much, which goes to show that you don't need to use that much foundation. So remember that when you guys are applying it on yourself, which is fabulous. Okay, so these are the True Match foundations that we have here. Thank you so much, my love. And, the concealers. And I've actually got a couple of shades. So I am a massive fan of these concealers, and I love using different colors. And in my kit, I have different shades because what I love to do is use them for bronzing, for adding a bit of warmth. I'm going to use one shade in the center of Lola's face to give her a bit of brightness. And then also you can have one that looks more like your skin tone, because what you don't want to do is go for a concealer that's too bright and then put it on a spot. What do you think that's going to do to the spot? It's going to highlight it. So we don't want to do that. We want those spots to look like they're blending in with the skin. So a lot of people just have that one concealer. It's really brightening, and that's great under the eye, but not for the areas that you want to conceal, which tends to be what you want your concealer to do. So I'm actually going to go in with this shade here, which I think would be a fantastic match for Lola. And again, I like to use a brush to apply my concealer. So we're going to take a small amount, and we're just going to focus on the under eye area. This actual shade has a really lovely peachy undertone, which I really love, because what that's really going to do is help to knock back any of that sort of darkness that we experience under the eye. So my pro tip is actually just to go in with a shade that's a little bit brighter, but has a little bit of that peachy undertone, just to help give a bit of brightness. And we're just going to smooth that into the skin. Now, you can use your fingers if you prefer, but again, I like to use a brush and just very lightly tap that into the skin. It's gorgeous. And again, it just blends in seamlessly. You've got those same beautiful sort of skincare benefits, but what you've also got in here is caffeine, which is really going to give you that energized look and feel to the under eye area. So we're just going to blend that in and tap that in. And can you see the difference of that just on that side? It looks fabulous. Now, if you did want to go in with a bit of a brighter color, then you can absolutely do so. So I've got a shade that's slightly lighter. I'm just going to go in and just tap that. Now, you'll notice that I tend to focus my application more on the inner part of the eye. You don't want to overload the under eye area with too much product, because that's when it's going to start to crease. So just want to do a couple of dots and then very lightly tap and blend. Now, this sort of technique that I'm using to apply the concealer is what we call stippling, okay? I see it all the time, and I see a few people that when they're doing the makeup on the tube, they do this like windshield wiper motion, and then the makeup just moves around. It doesn't give you that sort of coverage. So what I prefer to do is actually tap that into the skin, just so you get this really beautiful coverage, and then you're not creating too much texture, okay? So it just looks really beautiful. And again, it just gives that brightness, but still looks very natural on Lola's skin, so it's amazing. So I tend to have a couple of shades of concealer. One that's more about color correcting and giving a little bit of that brightness, and that looks a little bit more like your skin tone, and then a lighter color, just to give you that natural transition to more of a natural look. Because if you go straight in with that brightening concealer, you know when you take that picture with the flash, you know what's going to happen. So you want to keep it as natural as possible. but this just looks amazing. And again, a lot of it is down to technique, but I feel like a lot of the products that we have now, we're super lucky. Like, they just give a really good run for the money of the more sort of high-end products, which I really, really enjoy. You don't always have to pay for the more expensive products. It's about technique and the ingredients, and that's why I love using formulas that have the skincare benefits in them, because you really do get a really beautiful finish on there. Now, if you do have a little bit of an oilier eyelid, you can actually take a little bit of the concealer over the eye area, and it works really, really well. I'm just smoothing that in really lightly onto Lola's skin, but that just looks really beautiful. You guys are so quiet. You're just like intensely watching. Okay, as long as you're enjoying.
I am too.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And if you just turn towards me, hon, thank you. So I'm just making sure that everything is blended. It's that tapping motion, just so that I'm not creating too much texture, and just smoothing that over. I mean, that looks gorgeous. Really, really good. Okay, awesome. And then, you don't have to do this step, but because I like to kind of add a bit of warmth to the skin and give a little bit more of that sort of seamless glow, I'm actually going to go with a slightly warmer shade of the concealer, and I'm actually going to use this as the bronzer. So as a makeup artist, I learned so many tricks along the way. Just because a product says it's concealer, you don't have to always use it at that kind of way. You can actually create products and make them the way that you want to. So one of my favorite things to do is actually taking a concealer or a slightly deeper foundation and using that as like a bronzer. So again, the bronzer is different to contour, and this has more of a warmer undertone, whereas with the contour, that's creating shadow, so it's going to be a little bit more cooler tone. And what this is really good for is adding a little bit of warmth to the face. So kind of emulating that I've just stepped off of the plane, I've been to Barbados, I've been to Bahamas, like that sort of gorgeous glow. We don't have that luxury in the UK at the moment, so we're going to cheat that look with makeup, okay? So this is a really good shade, actually, that I really love to use, which is 9N. And I just use that on the areas just to add a bit of that color and that warmth to the skin. So forehead is really important, just under the cheekbones. If you turn that way, just so everyone can see, perfect. And then we're going to take a little bit of that down onto the neck and the chest area, which is so important because, again, I want to make sure that everything is blended in really, really beautifully. But that just looks so seamless. And you can go as warm as you want to. But again, you're just trying to create that really beautiful sun-kissed, glowy, radiant look, which looks beautiful. That looks stunning. Really, really nice. Going to do the same on the other side. Does anyone ever do this, or do they use bronzer or contour? Who's more contour? Okay. Yeah, I love bronzer. I can't not. What about you,
I'm a
Lola?
bronzer girl.
Bronzer girly, yeah. I think I probably
use a foundation stick sometimes.
Oh, that's really good. That's a good idea. I love that. Turn this way for me. Yeah, I don't think I can ever do my own makeup without not wearing bronzer. And I remember there being this narrative whereby, you know, as a black woman, you couldn't wear bronzer. But for me, it's like, it's one of the best ways, one, to make sure that you get that really lovely like warmth and glow to the skin, but also to create that uniformity, because with our skin, we're never one tone. So adding that warmth in with the bronzer is a really great way to kind of cheat that glowy, radiant look as well. And just to kind of give your skin that sort of like evenness all over. Sorry, hon. So we're just smoothing that on. Beautiful. And again, it just meshes in with the skin. I also like to use a little bit of this on the eye. And again, I'm all about multi-purpose products. You can even take it down the center of the nose as well, just to add that definition. But it's a really great way just to add that warmth and just make sure that everything blends in. Now, we're going to go on to blush now, because I'm a blush girly. Are you a blush girly as well?
I love these.
I love blush. Okay, I love this. This is so good to know. And also great because it means that I can really go to town with the blush. So I love blush. I think there's been a lot of kind of like fear around blush, but I feel like you shouldn't be scared of blush. Again, it's down to the formula that you use and the way that you apply it. One of my great tips that I have is when you're thinking about a color to go for, look at the natural tone in your lips. and find colors that match that. Can you see? So I've got 3 colors here, but can you see instantly that when you put that up next to Lola's lip, you can kind of see which one will complement her a little bit more? You see how this color looks really fantastic on her? And by all means, she probably could wear all of them, but I'm looking for the color that's going to be really complementary and give her that sort of lovely, like, your skin but better kind of makeup look. So we're going to go in with this really beautiful one. These are the Lumi blushes, the Lumi Glow brushes. Obsessed with these. They're so beautiful. And again, they are pigmented, okay? So you don't need a lot. So I would probably go in with like 1 or 2 applications, just like that. And then you can literally just use a brush, or if you prefer using your fingers, we're just gonna tap that onto the skin. And what I love about these is that it kind of gives the illusion of a blush and highlighter in one. So pretty. Because you're getting a little bit of that sort of highlighted glow, but you're also getting that pinkiness of a blush at the same time. They're also really great as a sort of lip stain, so if you wanted to use them on your lips as well, fantastic. So you can kind of build it up until you get your desired look. You can kind of do more of like a C motion, so you're kind of doing it on the top of the temple, and then bringing it down onto here. And if you just smile for me, just making sure you're getting that really beautiful flush and that build up. But can you see how lovely that is, and just how you're getting that really lovely natural flush on the cheeks? So gorgeous. And again, super easy to use. You'll notice that I haven't used powder yet because I'm not the biggest fan of using powder all over. I'm more about using powder in the areas where you need it. And even if you're the driest of dry, typically you only need a bit of powder on your T-zone. Or even if you're the oiliest of the oiliest, you don't need to use a lot of powder. So if you just turn this way for me, Angel, thank you. So we're just going to smooth that onto the skin. This is insane. Can you guys see that glow? How pretty that is? So we're just smoothing that onto the skin. And again, I'm taking it up onto the temples as well because again, I really want to kind of make sure that everything meshes in together. There's quite a few different shades of this, and I love that literally everyone is covered with this. There's such a good shade range of this, the foundations. I think there's like 46 shades of the foundation. But just how pretty that is. That is so gorgeous. And again, it's giving you the benefits of both. I think for most people, they're scared because they don't know where to put their blush, or they don't know where to put their sort of bronze or their highlighter. This just makes it easy for you to kind of know exactly where to apply it. It's kind of like your highlighter and blush all in one. Should we try a little bit of this on the lips? Yeah. Someone's like, yes, please. Okay, let's do a little bit of this on the lip.
I even love using it as an eyeshadow.
Yeah, on the eyes is gorgeous as well. It's so, so good. I mean, just look at that. It just gives this really beautiful sort of just bitten, sun-kissed look to the lips. So pretty. I'm going to go in with the Plump Ambition lip oil, which is one of my favorite lip oils, but just that on its own is stunning. How pretty is that? So multifunctional. So you've got your blusher, highlighter, and a lip. Gorgeous. So, so stunning. Okay, I wanted to show you the eyes, actually, because there's quite a few different products with the eyes that I'm absolutely loving. So, who really struggles with eyeshadow here? Yeah, I think that's the thing that everyone really struggles with. So I'm sure we all have those palettes at home where we only use like 2 colors, maybe the brown and the black, maybe the light color. These are the shadow sticks, which are so simple and easy to use. Anyone, even if you're somebody that really struggles with doing your eye makeup, you'll be a pro after using these. They're so simple and they're super long wearing. So if you do find that maybe you put your makeup on at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and then by the time it gets to 5 o'clock, you can't even see the eyeshadow, you're not going to experience that with these. They're fantastic, really long wearing, and they're really, really pigmented. So I'm actually going to have a look at a couple of shades that I think might work on Lola. But these are wonderful because you can literally just draw them on and they give you this really beautiful look. So I'm actually going to do a mixture of colors. So this one is a really stunning color. It's like a really lovely sort of pinky gold champagne, which works really well with the colors that I've used on her cheek. And again, you can just use your finger to apply this and just smooth it over. And can you see how it just gives that really beautiful coverage on the eyelid? Again, if you're somebody that's, afraid of shimmer or glitter, they're very finely milled. There's no huge chunks of that on here. I really love that shade, so that's really pretty. And then what you can do is that there's a slightly darker color here, which is Brown Abyss, which is what I've got on my eyes today. You can actually use that as like an eyeshadow or an eyeliner and just smooth that across the lash line, just to create more of a smokier eye. So I love these because you can literally just use 2 colors and then create a really beautiful and easy smoky eye look. And it looks like you spent ages and like hours doing your eye makeup, but it's so simple to do. And I'm just using a flat brush and just blending that liner or that dark brown color out. So just smoothing that. If you open your eyes for me, can you just see how it just gives that really beautiful look on the eye? Can you guys see over there? Perfect, awesome. And just blending that through. And there are a lot of eyeshadow sticks on the market, but I really love these. I love the colors that you have in these. Again, this dark brown one's amazing for your deeper skin tones, but even the lighter colors work really beautifully as well. And again, even if you've got the most oiliest of eyelids, they're so simple and easy to use. They're long wearing, so if you do find that your eyeshadow normally doesn't last on your eyelids or your eyelids are quite oily and the makeup just slides around, this is amazing. Again, you just see me, just draw it on. And the way that I'm applying that is that I'm really focusing to where her crease is, so where the socket is here. I'm not taking it too high, because by the time I start to blend it out with my finger, the eyeshadow will naturally travel upwards. Okay, and then you get that natural sort of finish there. And then using the slightly darker color, I'm just using that more so at the lash line. Now, if you wanted to go quite bold and do a smoky eye, you can absolutely just use that same color and just use that all over the eyelid like I did, and then just blend that out, and then you get this really beautiful smoky eye. So these are great. If you are someone that struggled with eyeshadow, which most of you said that you are, or you have in the past, you're absolutely gonna love these. They're so easy to use and they last absolutely ages. Yeah, really pretty. And very natural at the same time. So I love those. And then we're going to do a bit of mascara. Any questions so far on eye makeup? Yes. Thanks, guys, for these great questions.
Thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I just wanted to ask regarding the eyeshadow.
Yeah.
I know that you said that it's long-lasting, but would you advise whether maybe some people with maybe certain skin types should use a primer for the eyeshadow, or with this one you don't particularly need it?
You don't need it with these ones. I mean, essentially, they're kind of like a two-in-one. They're like your primer and your eyeshadow in one. If you were using a powder, maybe, and you felt like the powder don't stick to the eyes very well, you could use this as a primer first and then go in with your powder afterwards. So when you're layering your products, always do creams first and then powders afterwards. But with these, if you're looking for one and done and you don't want to make it too complicated, you could just go in with these. And they have that long wear formulation built in, so you're not going to have to worry about it moving about.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have we got another question?
Hi, I just wanted to ask a question, going back to foundation.
Yes.
The L'Oreal Skin Ink, will they be expanding on the shades?
Great question. Because I love that formula too, and I'm hoping that they will do. Have you tried the Tree Match foundation before? No. That's also a great formula, quite similar to the Skin Ink, but it's also got as well a little bit more in terms of that hydration. The Skin Ink is a great formula because it's your foundation and concealer in one, and it's also very, very long wearing. So I really like that one if you like full coverage. I'm hoping that they will be bringing out more shades as well. But there's 46 shades of the Tree Match foundation, so you can try that as well. All right, no worries. Any other questions? Hi. They're just coming around with the mic, my love.
Thank you.
Hi.
Absolutely gorgeous model.
Thank
and amazing makeup. Obviously, the model has beautiful eyelids. I have like hooded eyelids. How would you recommend putting eyeshadow on? Because I feel like I struggle with where to place things.
Yeah, let me guess. So you put the eyeshadow on, and then by the time you open your eyes, you can't see it anymore.
Yeah. It's just folded up. It's just.
Yeah, so I would do it exactly how I've done it with Lola. What you can do is take your eyeshadow a little bit higher so that when you do open your eyes, you can still see the eyeshadow. And these are great because you do get really good pigment with these. So unlike your powders, which might be a little bit wishy-washy, and you might find that you're not seeing them as much, the cream eyeshadow sticks are very pigmented. What I would say is when you are doing your eye makeup, I would try looking in the mirror with your eyes open and applying your eyeshadow, because when you close your eyes, by the time you open them to actually see where the eyeshadow is, you can't see it anymore. And secondly, eyeliner is going to be your best friend, and mascara. Because you don't have as much what we call like retail space on your eyelid, what you can do is create the illusion of that with an eyeliner to make your lash line look thicker. So that way you're drawing attention away from your eyelid, but more at your lash line. So you can go in with, like, for example, what I've done with the darker line eyeshadow as a liner. Just push a really dark brown or that darker brown shadow that I've used on your lash line, and then go with lots of mascara, and then that will just give you a little bit more impact without worrying about the way that the rest of the eye makeup looks. Does that make sense? Awesome. Of course. They're just coming around with the mic.
I'm kind of backtracking, but in terms of putting powder on, with like texture skin, how do you avoid looking cakey?
Oh, like press setting powder? Yeah. I'm actually going to do that at the end, so I'll show you exactly how to do it. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but thank you so much. Great question. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in with the mascara. We're going to go in with Panorama. Now, I love this mascara. It's a real true black mascara, but they also do it in black brown as well. And what I love about this is that if you are like me, I don't have a lot in the way of eyelashes, but it does give you the illusion of a thicker lash line. And also it's really, really great to apply because you can get right in between the lashes and create that really nice, full, voluminous look. So what I love about this mascara is that it really does stretch out your lashes. You don't actually need to use an eyelash curler with it because it grabs every single lash and gives it that really nice uplifted curl. And, you know, the proof is in its name, Panorama. It grabs every lash to give you that fanned out look. Now, what I love is that you get right in between the roots of the lashes and then just pull through. Now, if you're doing mascara on yourself, what I would recommend is actually having a compact mirror like this, having that open with the mirror, and then looking down and putting the mascara on. That will do two things for you. It will mean that you get right in between your lashes underneath, but it will also mean that you're not going to get mascara knocked on your eyelids. So if you do find that when you put mascara on, it moves everywhere, it transfers, do the technique that I showed you by having a compact mirror in your hand, look down into the mirror so your eyes are open, and then apply your mascara. And you'll just see that you get a massive difference in terms of your application, and your lashes will look a lot more fuller because you're grabbing every single lash. You can also take the lash, the mascara wand on its tip, and then start to grab every lash for more of a winged out, fanned out look. So this is really good to get right in those inner corners of your lashes. But can you see the difference, how gorgeous that is? It really does open up the lashes and gives a little bit more definition. So we're going to do the same on the other side. But I really love, this is one of my favorite mascaras. I actually did like a review of all my favorite mascaras on my Instagram, and this was one of my favorite ones. You just turn this way for me? Perfect. And I just love that it doesn't clump. It gives you that volume, it doesn't transfer. It's super long wear, and it's not a waterproof mascara, but it does give you that long wear and that longevity. And then if you look up for me, you can actually use the tip of the wand because the wand is not too big, and actually just grab those lower lashes really easily, just to define the look. And if you turn that way for me, hon. Awesome. Because I wanted to do more of a natural, soft glam look, I actually didn't do anything on the lower lashes, but I feel like I don't need it. I think this is the black one. Yeah, but I love it. It looks amazing on you. Really,
Two of
really
my
good.
favorite mascaras are L'Oreal.
Yeah,
ones.
they're really good. That one in telescopic is a really good one.
Telescopic
Yeah,
is the other
it's
one.
fabulous. Okay, so we're on to your question about powder now. And remember what I was saying to you earlier about I love powder. I'm just not a big fan of putting it everywhere. So one of the things that I would recommend is pressed powders are fantastic and they're really convenient to use, but it's more about the application. So you do have the sponge that's at the bottom, but I would say keep that for when you're doing touch-ups throughout the day when you're out and about. What you want to do is when you're first applying your powder is to use a brush. Try to go for a smaller brush and one that's slightly tapered like this, because what you can do is then really control the application of where you're putting the powder, okay? So for me, I really want to kind of keep Lola's skin looking really beautiful and glowy and radiant. I'm not going to put powder on these areas here because I want to have that glow and I want to accentuate it. What I will do is take a little bit of powder under the eye area, top lip. Does anyone else get a really sweaty top lip? Or am I the only one? I get such a sweaty top lip. So I love to take a little bit of powder on the top lip just to make sure that everything is nice and set. And again, I'm using that same technique that I was doing previously, whereby I'm pushing the product into the skin. I'm not moving it around like this, because that's going to create texture and move the makeup around. So what I love about this is that you're still getting that beautiful radiance and glow that I've obviously worked really hard to create with the skincare and the other products, but I'm not taking away from that with this. I'm just minimizing the shine in the areas that I want to. If you look right up, hon, perfect. So just smoothing that. If you turn this way for me, perfect. So this is all about making sure that the skin looks like skin, and this is how you avoid the makeup looking cakey, is because you're not putting powder aimlessly all over the skin. You're really targeting and pinpointing where you're applying the powder. I'm just going to take a step back on that. Yeah, it's gorgeous. What are you guys thinking so far? Yeah, loving it? Oh, that makes me so happy. Okay, awesome. We're going to finish off now with a few finishing touches, which are kind of like my favorite parts. Has anyone tried these lip oils? They're so good. Okay, so these are the Plump Ambition lip oils. They're kind of between a lip balm, a lip gloss, and a lip oil. Super nourishing, hydrating, so they're going to hydrate the lips, but they give you the most incredible shine. This is the shade that I have on. It's called La Nuit Sparkle. So beautiful, and again, works on different skin tones. But this is also equally really, really gorgeous as well. Because I've obviously used that blush on Lola's lips, I'm actually just going to go in with this. The thing I love about this is that you've got this really beautiful tapered applicator. So I actually like to apply this way up, just to really emphasize that beautiful Cupid's bow that Lola has. She's got gorgeous lips. So by you using the tip of the wand, you can really amplify the outer perimeter of the lip and give more of a sort of plumping effect. This naturally has those plumping agents to keep your lips looking nice and plump and hydrated, but you've also got your hyaluronic acid, which is a running theme and a running ingredient in all of the products here. But you can just see how that just glides on so beautifully and looks amazing. How does that feel? It feels so good.
Yeah, these are my favorite.
Super nourishing, super hydrating, but also very plumping as well. So nice. And it's great because this color is great if you already have a lip color that you really love to use and you just want to add a little bit. Maybe you already wear like a brown lip liner or like a sheer sort of nude lip color and you just want to add a little bit of like plumping. This is a great one to go for. But if you love that 90s brown sort of look, this is amazing. It's so, so beautiful. I have it on now. And I love it. It's gorgeous.
I was looking at your lip going, what is that?
It's this one. It's such a gorgeous color. And again, these haven't got those sort of like, you know that lip plumping that normally people have where it's like really, really like spicy and it's virtually uncomfortable. You still get that plumping, but without the sort of tingling, which I really, really enjoy.
No, it's really light.
It's very light. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Okay. Let's go in with our final step. Lock everything in. Has anyone tried the 3-second set and mist? It's so good. Such a good setting spray. It's fantastic. This is obviously the original formula that came out with, but now we've got the jumbo size as well in a really beautiful scent. This is amazing at locking your makeup in. If you find that your makeup doesn't stay on or you really want to lock everything in, if you're wearing body makeup, for example, I love to take the Glotion on my clients. Where did I put it? I literally just like, oh yeah, it dropped. Thank you. So I love to use the Glotion on the body, but obviously you don't want it to transfer on your clothes and things. Just obviously locking it in with a 3-second setting mist will just help to keep it in place. But it's a really, really good product. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of this and just pop it on the skin. And what's great about this is that it is a long-wearing sort of setting spray, but it won't take away the radiance and glow on the skin. So always give it a really good shake. And then we're just going to very lightly just spray it over the skin. And what I love as well with this is that you can actually use it very finely over the skin. You know when you sometimes use a setting spray and it starts to like spit at your face because the mist isn't great? This is a really beautiful, fine, continuous mist that really goes onto the skin really, really lovely. So I love that. Gorgeous. Oh, do you know
Your
what we didn't
makeup
do?
will not move.
It will not move. It will not move at all. We actually didn't do brows. So I'm going to do that really, really quickly now, actually, just to finish everything off.
Accidentally shaved off one of my brows this morning.
So we're just going to fill them in. I'm actually going to go in with the brow lamination, which is one of my favorite products. If you find that your brows are quite unruly or you want to have that brow laminated effect and look, this is a fantastic product. I actually like to go in with it first as like a way to kind of comb up the brows. If you just turn this way for me, just to kind of see where I want to fill it in. And then we've got the incredible brow pen. So what I love about this is that it's got this really sort of fine nib, which is amazing because you can kind of really create those sort of like brush strokes looks. I was actually upstairs, and one of the MUAs was actually using this on the client, and she was so impressed because it really gave her brows like a new life and made them look as if they were really nice and full. And sometimes with a pencil, it can look a little bit too aggressive and a little bit too harsh. You've got like these little 2 prongs that are really easy to use because you can just go in and just fill in any gaps and create those really nice sort of fine and mimic those really fine sort of hair strokes, which is really, really fabulous. And again, that combination with the brow lamination, turn away, thank you, hon, and the brow pen just gives a really good finish. You kind of almost just want to cancel your brow appointment and just use this. I find that a lot of L'Oreal Paris products, they literally like, they're made as if they were made for people that are thinking about like their salon and their treatments, like this is the brow lamination. They're like, don't have your brow lamination, just have this. I love it. So good. And again, like Lola's got amazing brows. I'm not trying to recreate a whole new look for her brows. I'm just trying to fill in exactly where the gaps are. Guys, I think that's a finished look.
Woo! I want to see it.
Thank you so much for holding up with me, guys. Honestly, I really do appreciate you being here. Thank you, Lola, for being a gorgeous model.
No, thank you.
And L'Oreal Paris and the Beauty Beat. We're closing out Beauty Beat 2025. Do you guys have any further questions? Yes. Hi, lovely.
Thanks for everything that you just did. It was absolutely amazing.
Thank
I
you.
have one question. So I get like really deep smile lines.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything that you'd recommend either when you're doing your makeup or prepping your skin to do your makeup to like kind of reduce it or
Yeah.
it in any way?
I mean, I love smile lines because, again, it just shows that you're a happy person. But I know how annoying they can be. So one thing I would say is just use really good skincare to help hydrate the area. If there's any sort of texture or any areas of the skin that you're sort of nervous about, if you just completely avoid them and don't hydrate them enough, by the time you put makeup on, it's just going to start to kind of emphasize those areas. So the great thing about this range, it's all about being packed with hyaluronic acid to plump the skin. It's kind of like plumping it from the inside outwards, okay? And then when you're applying your powder, do exactly how I was doing it in terms of using that very light pressing motion, but you can also use the powder puffs in the actual sort of casing just to kind of press it in those areas. Naturally, you know, as you're moving your face, you're going to have those natural lines, but there's things that you can do just to kind of make it look a little bit better. So good skin prep and just a little bit of powder in those areas just to help smooth and, you know, even everything out. Does that help? Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi. I think you got, oh yeah, awesome. Hi.
Yes, hello, hi. Thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank
it was
you.
absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much.
I have a question in terms of the aftercare, like how to take off the makeup.
Yeah.
I prefer wipes
Yes.
and then a face wash. But people keep saying, oh, don't use wipes, don't use wipes, don't use wipes. So do you recommend to use like a liquid makeup remover and then a face wash, or can I just stick to my wipes and then a face wash?
The thing with wipes is that if that's your preference, absolutely. But what I would say is that, have you tried a micellar water before? Yeah? Micellar waters are great. They kind of do what wipes do, but I think they're better for the environment and they're great. I mean, if you're out and about and you have no access to water, by all means use a wipe. But what I would say is micellar waters are great because they actually have oils in the formula to break down the makeup. The thing with wipes is that they're not always the great thing to kind of break your makeup down. For example, I've done a full face on Lola now. If she just went in with a wipe, that will not remove all the makeup. You need something that's going to help to break it down. So micellar water or a cleansing oil or a cleansing balm will be really good to do that. Because remember, you're wearing like these thick, long-wearing formulas. You need something to kind of break the makeup down. And then you can go in with your face wash afterwards. So it's down to personal preference. It's not bad that you're using them, but I think there's some other products that might be a bit better. For example, micellar water, as opposed to wipes. Okay. Any other questions? Oh yeah, perfect. Hi. I love your coat.
Thank you. Don't get me big-headed. I have two questions. The first one is, for L'Oreal, it has quite a personal connection to me, as it was my first foundation to True Match. I was a shade 10 in Pink Coca, Neutral Warm, because literally it was by force, because there was no other shade for me in the drugstore. So yeah, so I've been quite loyal to the brand since then. So my first question was, what was your first foundation when you first got into makeup?
Oh, good question. So I actually love the True Match because I think it was a really good formulation. It was very hydrating in there as well. And then another brand I also love was Danessa Myrix. That was one of like my favorite formulas as well that I really love, the blurring balm. And then what was your second question?
The second one is just about eyeshadow. I have a friend who I was doing her makeup once, and usually I'm quite good with eyeshadow and stuff, but with her eyes started to water midway through, so because of that, it ruined majority of like the first part of the cut crease I did for her.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, what would you do if you had a model or a client and their eyes began to water and it was starting to ruin their makeup? How would you solve that?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is figure out what it is that's causing the eyes to water because you don't want it to happen again, and just make sure that you're ensuring that that kind of situation's at hand. And then don't be afraid just to take a little bit of micellar water just to kind of remove that area and just kind of re-go over it. So was it the eye makeup or the concealer that was ruined with the eye streaming?
The entire thing just kind of like fell apart, like the front part. So like I did a cut, so it was the concealer, it went away, and then any eyeshadow I had put on top had disappeared. So I could see like her actual eyelid in that one spot.
Yeah. So with the concealer, what you can do is take a little bit of micellar water or a bit of eye cream and just re-moisturize and smooth the area, and then just go back in with your normal technique. I think the biggest thing is just figuring out what was causing her eyes to water and just mitigating that and just stopping that first of all, because you don't want that to keep repeating itself. And then again, with the eye makeup, I would actually say let it dry first with the eye makeup, and then you can just very lightly buff that over and then go back in over with the cream shadow stick just to kind of make sure it's nice and smooth again.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you for your great questions. Any other questions?
Hello, Adeola.
Hi.
Well, thank you for dropping the amazing gems you have today.
Thank you.
My question is blemish related.
Yes.
And covering them up. So I got burnt about 2 years ago, and I've still got like a scar in my nose and one on my cheek. What would be your suggestions or techniques rather that you would suggest to use to cover them prior to putting on your foundation?
Good question. So one of the things I would say is just make sure that the area is really nice and well hydrated and moisturized. So for example, that plumping water cream is fantastic because it's very, very lightweight. It's quite hydrating, and it won't kind of create a greasy film over the skin, but still help to smooth it. Because remember, the minute you start putting makeup on top of an area that's already quite dry and textured or a bit too oily, that's just going to make the makeup look worse, and you're going to actually like bring attention to that area. So make sure it's nice and primed, and then again, use a concealer like the True Match one that's still quite hydrating, but that will also cover the skin. You've also got some really great skincare benefits in there just to help calm and soothe the blemishes as well, and then a bit of setting powder just to kind of lock it in. But again, it's that pressing motion. So maybe what you could do is just get a sponge and then just kind of smooth and press in the powder and the concealer just to make sure that there's no texture and it's nice and smooth as well. All right, thank you.
Hi. Thank you for today.
Thank you
so
much.
amazing. Your model looks amazing.
Thank you, hon.
I just wanted to ask about your blush placement, especially for older skin. Black might not crack, but it sometimes droops. But sometimes also if you're tired, your skin tends to relax a little bit too.
Yeah.
And then you go and put a blusher on where you think it should go, and then as the day goes on, you see it sort of almost pulling your skin down, your face down. And what do you think about the placement, the current trend that is the pink placement right under your eye?
Yeah.
And that goes up. It's very nice, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I always feel like with makeup, there's a time and a place for it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with certain types of makeup. I think that style's beautiful. Maybe not for every single day, but I actually quite like it because it's actually quite like the kind of technique that I love, where I like my blusher placement to be quite high. Like you'll notice that when I applied it on Lola, it was more on the sort of like high cheekbone area up onto sort of like the temple. And I feel like that kind of look is actually really on trend at the moment. But it's also great because it means that naturally, if you find that your face droops a little bit or your makeup kind of tends to fall, the blush is always going to be nice and high because of where you've applied it. So my sort of placement for blush is always, if you smile, the apples of your cheeks, and then always lifting it up until the sort of like temple area, just to give you that really nice and lifted effect as well. Okay, thank you. I think you've got one over there.
Thank you for your masterclass. It's been great.
Thank you so much.
My question is regarding powders. So I use a loose powder.
do you have a preference of a pressed powder or loose powder for an everyday? Because I feel like I get more blurring effect from loose powder, but maybe pressed powder is better in your case.
Yeah, I feel like they do two different things. So with your loose powder, that's more to kind of set your makeup and keep it in place. And I like to use more of a pressed powder for more touch-ups on the go. And I find that they do provide a bit more coverage with your pressed powder because they're compact. They're kind of blocking that pigment in one sort of block. Whereas your loose powder, you can kind of build it up. You can put it on quite naturally. So what I tend to do is with my application, I tend to prefer using a loose powder for more of a natural look. And then if I'm out and about and I want to touch up throughout the day, I normally have a compact powder more for finishing my makeup. So I tend to use both. If you had the choice of using one, maybe go for the compact because then at least then you can take it out and about with you. But I think it's more about the kind of look that you're going for, but I agree with you. With the loose, it tends to give more of a natural sort of blurring finish, whereas your compact will give you a bit more coverage and it's great for like using when you're out and about as well. So there's a place for both of them. It's just down to your preference and what you're looking for. Okay. Thank you. No worries. Is that it or any other questions? I think she's got one more question at the front here.
Sorry, I promise this is my last one.
That's okay.
Just building on some of the things you said before, how would you do makeup on mature skin? Because my mum, she just turned 60 yesterday. When I do her makeup and I use the same techniques I would use on my face, it doesn't work as well. So what would you advise her to be able to,
Yeah, I would say that mature skin works in the way of any other skin. It's just that it could be a little bit more drier. And you might find that obviously with natural sort of like fine lines, you might feel like the makeup sits in certain areas. But you can adopt the same exact techniques that I've used on Lola. It's just more about prepping the skin accordingly. If the skin is dry, to ensure that there's not sort of texture on the skin, because the minute you put makeup on top of texture or fine lines, you're going to emphasize that. So what I would say is just making sure you're really focused on your skin prep and maybe using more hydrating, more moisturizing sort of foundations. Like for example, the True Match concealer and foundation are amazing because they're packed full of skin-loving ingredients and you've got hyaluronic acid in there as well. Yeah, but same exact techniques. Is that any others? No? Awesome. Oh no, you got one more.
Hi, sorry, just last question. I just wanted to ask regarding, when you're talking about taking off makeup, I think one of the problems I encounter is when I do use cleansing foam and stuff like that and micellar water, but it's again with my hairline, sometimes the makeup, trying to get it out of there, I've struggled with. I don't know if there were any tips at all.
Yeah, so is it just a cleansing foam, like a face wash you're using?
And then I use a face wash after.
Okay, yeah. So if you find that your hairline, you really want to get into it, just use a micellar water on a cotton pad and just get right into those areas. Because sometimes when you're washing your face, you don't do it for long enough. You're actually meant to be washing your face for at least 60 seconds, but most people are doing it for like 10 seconds. And if you do find there's a bit of a build-up, an oil-based or a balm-based cleanser, they're really, really good because they really will help to kind of break down the makeup, emulsify, and then you can go in with a face wash afterwards. Face washes don't always get everything off, and you'll find that even when you kind of go in with a cotton pad, you still see the makeup on there. So if you need a bit more of a heavier duty one, go in with a sort of cleansing oil, cleansing balm, and then really work it into the sort of hairline just to make sure that everything's broken down and you can get everything out of your hairline.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, guys, I think that will be the last question, but thank you so much for staying. I know that we've stayed a bit longer, but I really do appreciate you being here.
And I have to thank you, Adeola, because that is how you close out the beauty. Honestly, I learned so much. Like, this is how you do it. A real world-class beauty expert with real practical, applicable tips. So thank you very much for that mega masterclass with L'Oréal Paris. And thank you, Lola, for just being so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Just gorge. All that is left for me to say is thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us at the Beauty Beat. I've literally loved being your host for the weekend, second year running. Love that for me. Literally love. But it's my great pleasure to invite to the stage the Beauty Beat founder, Miss Donna Dia, the powerhouse who makes all of this magic possible for us. So please give her all you've got. Donna Dia, everyone. Thank you, Donna, for all you do for us. Honestly, this is so magical. It was my favorite weekend of the year. This is Black Girl Glastonbury.
Yes. Oh, no, well, thank you. I mean, I can't believe that the Beauty Beat 2025 is over. Oh my goodness, yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you all so much for being in the room, for coming, for buying tickets, for sharing, for all of it. Thank you for those that came yesterday. Thank you to my incredible team. Like, this is just not possible without them. Also want to thank everyone that supports the Beauty Beat, Adeola, Lola, all of our brand partners. It's such a privilege. I say it often, and you've probably heard me say it before, but it is such a privilege to work on the Beauty Beat because, you know, I just get to think about and talk about and just be about us. That's all I get to do, and that is just the privilege of my professional life. So, yeah, thank you. You know, we hope to do it again. We hope to see you next year, and thank you again. That's it. Bye.